What's up, guys? Today we're going to be taking a look at one of the 4 tracks I just released on Tales of Romance called Dream to Reality. This was a really fun track to make. It's one of my most musical tracks I've written, so I'm looking forward to showing you this. I'll be covering a lot, and I'm only going to be doing about 8 minutes, so if after the video you have any questions about anything, just leave a comment below. Send me an Instagram DM even, and I'll get back to you. All right, let's jump right in. So to start with, I have this kick drum here. So the kick drum is basically a low end kick and a high end kick. Just layer those two together. For the bass, we have 2 different sounds, right? This more percussive sound here and the sub sound. They're both coming from Serum. For the perc bass, this is just a preset I created. And then for the sub bass, it's also coming from Serum. Just a preset that I have, and then together they're grouped, and I'm using our bass on them just to kind of gel the sounds together. For the hats and the rest of the drums here, we have a group. On the grouping, I'm using CLA vocal. This is a cool trick you can use. It's got some really good kind of built-in effects that work really well on hi-hats, and then just some EQing as well. Individually, you kind of hear the sounds here. Right, so nothing special, just picking the right sounds, layering them together. For the perc loop here, this was an audio loop originally that I converted to MIDI. And then when you do that in Ableton, you can actually get control over the attack, decay, and sustain and release of that. So I just turned the sustain all the way down on the loop because originally it sounded like this, which is cool, but it's just it was too much for the track. So by turning the sustain down, you just get these sharper transients that worked really well. And then we have this atmospheric perc sound here. What I've done is I've duplicated the rack, and then on the duplicate sound, I've applied a reverb at 100%, at which I can control how much of that is being applied to the dry signal or being mixed in with the dry signal, just right here with this volume automation. Then we have a clap. It's a rim shot and a clap sample layered together. Some conga drums. We're using Vitamin on the conga drums as well as a few other sounds in here. Vitamin's a really nice plugin. It's like a multi-band compressor, saturator, and EQ all in one. If I turn it off, you can see it just kind of brings out the life in the sound. And then we have a bunch of melodic elements, which I'm using mainly Omnispehere for. So we have the pianos here. And then we have the same piano, but with a reverb at 100%. Right? Just adds some really cool atmosphere in certain parts of the track. Then we have this melody here coming from the synth. With this, I've duplicated the sound and then panned one far left and the other far right. It just kind of adds some width and a bit more body to the sound. And then on the grouping of those 2 sounds, we have just a crystallizer, which kind of acts like a reverb and a delay. Then we have a couple pad sounds. So first, there's this. It's like a violin string pad. Creates some nice tension. And then we have this one down here, which is the main theme of the song. Also coming from Omnispehere, just doing some EQing and a bit of saturation on that sound. The EQing, it's actually pretty heavy on the notching because that sound had a lot of resonant peaks that I wanted to control. Now we have a cello here. I'm using Vitamin again on this and another EQ just to control the low end. Basically, this was an audio, it was a loop that was all put together, and I just cut it up and rearranged the notes that were being played to fit the melody that I had. From there, we have this vocal.
Sometimes there's so much beauty.
The vocal is being sent to a reverb and a delay, and then actually on the channel itself, we're using a de-esser an EQ, another EQ, which has some automation on the on the notches there. You'll see if I just play that one section.
It surrounds us.
It's just on that one word. I think I found that there was some resonant peaks that I just wanted to control. And then to get that sort of like telephone sound, I use this Filter Freak plugin.
It surrounds us. It surrounds us.
Just creates a really cool effect. And then some compression on everything just to glue the sound together and make sure that it's not getting too loud or too quiet. And the rest of the elements are just kind of atmospheric. So some of them I'm sending to the reverb. Some of them I'm just using effects right on the channel. Got a vocal with a tremolator on it. So that's kind of creating that little jumpy sound. And then here we have the sound. Some delay on it. This one here. Same delay. It's kind of like crying sound. This here, which is actually like the tail from a reverb on the other piano up here. I just recorded the reverb tail and then reused it as like an atmospheric sound with kind of that melodic, these two notes playing. And then we have this guitar sound here as well. I panned far left and far right with this sound as well, and then applied just, EQ, delay, reverb. And there you go. So all of these sounds, the bass sounds are going to a bass bus. On the bass bus, I have some EQ and some saturation. The drums, like I said, are going to the drum bus with the compressor. And some of these effects sounds here are going to the effects bus where I have just EQ and some panning as well. All right, guys. Well, that's the track. I hope you found that interesting. If you want to hear the full version, I put all the links in the description. As always, thank you for the support. And until next time, take care. Peace.